What up? It's your most hated kaiju power scaler, King Churros here, and we're back at it again with another versus battle. Today in a battle arena, we got Godzilla 1998, or the TriStar version, versus Zilla 04 from Final Wars. Now this is going to be a pretty epic matchup that I came up with. I'm like, you know, it's pretty cool. They're two separate kaijus, like, who's the stronger one, you know? So yeah. If you would like to see any crazy battles, such as like Batra versus Megaguirus or Biolante versus Gigan, just put it in the comment section below. I am accepting anything you request. Mostly kaiju related stuff. I can try other things, but mostly kaiju related stuff. And yeah, and don't forget to join the Discord, because I know people, we're going to have our very first official debate this Saturday, actually. So, yeah, hopefully you guys can come and join in there, or debate me even, because I know people are gonna disagree with some of the stuff I say, and that's okay. I encourage it. Just prove your points. That's it. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get on to the video. Now we have Zilla and TriStar Zilla. So we're first go off of their AP or damage stuff. So for Zilla, he's supposed to be multi-city block. This is due to barging through the MetLife building. We also see him destroy a paquet of helicopters just by biting onto them. He's able to rip through streets by burrowing, and he's able to step on tanks and flip them over and make them explode. With his power breath, he's able to bend steel, like rip streets apart. Well, not necessarily rip streets apart, but he's able to make cars fly and make traffic lights bend. So his power breath is pretty crazy, and when there's fire around, it ignites it, so making it like a miniature flamethrower. So it's like a down bad version of the atomic breath. Now on to our boy Zilla 04. He has some pretty crazy stuff too, despite the fact he only has like 37 seconds of screen time. So when he first pulls up, he's already destroying one of the major buildings in Australia. He's making it fall completely over. And then when he attacks the mainland where you see people running, he barges his head to the ground to pick up a truck and crush it. But he smacks his head so hard to the ground that he literally creates a miniature earthquake. Well, not earthquake, but like he makes the entire ground shake. And he makes it shakes so hard. I just noticed this when researching this video, but he hits the ground so hard he makes a woman fly past his head. Yes, he literally made a human being just from smacking his head to the ground. He literally made an entire human being fly into the sky. That's it. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now, so in terms of attack potency and stuff, I'm gonna give it to Zilla 04, just for the thing I stated before. He shows better stuff. He's destroyed more buildings despite the fact having very limited screen time. With Zilla 98, it's not undoubtable if he could destroy buildings or not. That wasn't really his intentions. But with the way Zilla 04 does his damages attacks, they're a lot more impressive and a lot more of a faster rate. And yeah, so on to durability. TriStar Zilla was able to take bullet fire, and he was able to take 2 torpedoes to the back and play dead, or he was at least temporarily stopped. So that was pretty impressive on his part. He did get killed by missiles later on, and with Zilla 04 we basically have 0 durability feats. Besides him getting macked up by Final Wars, but that's not really fair to him. So yeah, not really up there in that department. So I would say, I guess I would give it a 98. There's nothing to really disprove that 04 has bad durability, but you know, I'll leave this inconclusive. There's no reason to answer that, because it's just too hard to put a label on. Even though I do have some more arguments for that later, but we'll get into that. On the speed, they should be around the same speed, but I will give this to 04. Final War's atomic breath is calculated to be 65% the speed of light, which is relative. You know what I'm trying to say. It's relativistic. So he was able to dodge that atomic breath and jump at Final Wars. Obviously, that didn't work out for him, but the fact that he's able to react to the atomic breath shows that he has a higher reaction time compared to TriStar. TriStar, sure, was able to dodge and weave missiles, but none of that comes close to being relativistic. So this automatically goes to 04. So yeah, that's a lot of there. And what else? In terms of intelligence, I'll give it a 98. 04 was being mind controlled, so even though despite the fact being the same species, he should be as intelligent as 98, but we don't have any feats to prove that, so we give this to 98. He was able to make plans and outsmart the humans even on certain occasions, so intelligence go to 98 for sure. And I believe that's it on my end. So Gamera, who do you believe takes the dub in this fight?
For me, I would say it's 98 for sure.
So you believe 98 wins, and why is that?
Well, to what we saw in the movie, he has more feats, more intelligence, and basically all around he's, I would say, a lot more smarter than 04, due to him outsmarting the helicopters and I'm in the scene.
Right. Right.
And so, also not to mention he hid the eggs underground where like the military wouldn't find them, like in the most common places. So I'll have to give it to 98.
Nice. Okay, so from my perspective, ladies and gentlemen, I give it to 04. No, let me let me go into details why. So I will admit, some of my reasoning is somewhat headcanon, not really. Well, I won't say headcanon, but it's like vague interpretation. So I won't claim it as overall fact, but it is highly based on what is shown in universe. So it's not like something I just completely made up. This is all in universe stuff. So let's talk about the Atragons. We see with the Gotengo, it is able to withstand Final Wars Godzilla's atomic breath. His atomic breath has been calculated to be 2 to 5 petatons of TNT. And if you want to lowball, you can put it to country, which is above multi-city block Zilla 98. So the reason I'm bringing the whole Atragons is the Gotengo should be relative or relevant to the other Atragons because they're pretty much the same device, and it wouldn't make sense for the humans and the mutants to make one ship just vastly stronger than the others. That just puts them all at a disadvantage. That logically just doesn't make sense. So all the Atragons should be relative to each other. So they should all scale to multi-continental durability. And the reason I'm bringing this up, in the film, we see these Atragons are going out to attack the monsters. We see it attack Kamacuras. We see it attack Anguirus. We see it attack Rodan. It's just straight up with basically every monster besides Zilla, and I guess Hedorah, who was like very also limited in screen time. We see the Atragons and many other like military weapons attack these monsters because the whole Earth is under destruction. If you're gonna try to assert that in Australia there was no defense at all to stop Zilla from his rampage, I think you're reaching a bit. Even if you think I'm reaching for assuming that Zilla's should scale to continental due to him possibly fighting against Atragon. But I'm not going to say it's straight up the Atragon, but he was definitely fighting against some forms of military. There was no way, you know what I'm saying? There was no way Australia just let him body the entire city, right? There's just no way all of Sydney just said, okay, Zilla can do that. But every other city, they're fighting back against these monsters. It just, from a narrative and logical standpoint, that makes no sense. And since, like I said, this is assumptions, but this, like I said, this is based in universe. Since we've seen Kamacuras, Rodan, Anguirus, Manda all fight against Atragons during their rampages, it is pretty safe to assume Zilla did as well. And if not, you don't want to give him that credit. Well, here, it is stated in some supplementary material states that he is a mutated iguana and that he's the same kind of monster that appeared in the east coast of the US in 1998. So in Final Wars, 1998 is basically canon, or something much similar happened. And yet again, this is with assumptions, but the assumptions make sense. I don't know why you would put him higher or lower. That means that Zilla that appeared in 1998 should be the same Zilla that appeared in the TriStar film, which is multi-city block. And if this guy's a relative to it, he should also scale to it. But if anything, he's higher due to him fighting weapons that can take continental attacks potentially, but he most likely did. So this will put Zilla 04 very likely to be continental. It's not 100% confirmed, but at minimum he should be as strong as TriStar, due to the TriStar universe being nearly canon to the Final Wars, or basically canon. And the monster should scale the exact same. I don't see why it would scale any different. And for that reason alone, even if they did have the same AP, this Zilla should utterly wash TriStar, due to him being able to react to atomic breath at 65% of speed of light, which is much faster than anything TriStar reacted to. And that would give this Zilla much faster attack speed. And if he attacks at the same level Zilla does, likely he attacks much higher, due to the Final Wars universe having multi-continental weapons to planetary weapons. Yes, planetary weapons potentially. And he should scale to that stuff because he survived and he destroyed Sydney. What killed him was Godzilla himself, not the mutants, not the military. He beat those. He won. Sure, he possibly had assistance from aliens, as we saw with their second attack. When they re-released the monsters, they had drones flying with them, supporting them. But that doesn't change the fact that Zilla... That still doesn't change the fact that Zilla didn't get mollywopped. For example, if I were to take on the entire Justice League and I had some weapons besides me, I'm not going to live, okay? It doesn't matter if these weapons are nearly as strong. I don't scale to Superman. Superman can still blitz me regardless if there's ships helping me. There's still Batman who can outsmart me. There's still a bunch of factors that can play out. And if Zilla doesn't scale to these weapons, which he should be fast, he should be able to dodge these weapons and stuff like that anyways. But not to mention, he seems to have better destructive capacity than freaking 98 does. For one, when we see him chase down those two random guys on the street for whatever reason, before that, Zilla causes some type of mass explosion. Don't know if it was Zilla theorized if it was power breath potentially. We're not sure, but Zilla did something to cause human beings, a group of humans while running, to just burst away from an explosion. This could be the explosion impact could be comparable to the wind speeds of a Category 3 hurricane. And hurricanes, according to Versus Wiki, are large town level. This could potentially be a large town level feat, depending how you interpret this, which would be above multi-city block level TriStar Zilla. Even if you don't, that's still, regardless, that is still more impressive than anything Zilla has done in 98. And that's still not done. When he notices the two random men down the street and decides to chase them, he goes and slaps his tail against a building, and the building shatters and crumbles in like less than 2 seconds. when we see Zilla 98 while running from the Apoche helicopter slashing his tail against buildings, now it may not be to the exact same degree, but it does nowhere near the same amount of damage. Now, we never seen Zilla 98 even do anything to that extent with any buildings. We see him even barge through buildings like the MetLife Center building and come out of buildings, and neither one of them have completely crumbled in a matter of seconds. The amount of force Zilla 04 did that, which was casual, because he wasn't even intending to destroy the building, he was just intending to attack those two random men. It just shows a big gap in power between the two. Not to mention that Zilla 04, when he was about to eat the two guys, had explosions almost as large as he was, like next to him. Then this is all just from walking. Nothing, and Zilla 98 has not caused explosions to that extent just from running. Yes, he did cause some pretty tank-wide explosions when he tossed over the tanks and flipped them over by running and stepping on them. But like I said, that's not here what Zilla's doing. Because first of all, he was probably running over basic cars doing that, while Zilla has to use tanks. And tanks are much bigger and probably would cause bigger explosive yields than a regular car would. And Zilla 04 is doing more with less. Not to mention all the other stuff I said before, which could potentially be true. Him scaling to Atragons or the other weapons they have, because in this universe, they have the Absolute Zero. They have lasers, you know what I mean? And all types of stuff. So Zilla could potentially scale to that stuff. So he could potentially be continental. It's potential, though. We're not sure yet. There's not a lot of information yet. There's a Final Wars guidebook that has yet to be translated that could answer a lot of our questions here. So until then, this is just a potential theory, but I believe this theory has a lot backing it. Because like I said earlier, there's no reason for Sydney to just not fight back against Zilla, especially when all the rest of the world is fighting back. And this EDF force made by the mutants are all global, like they're prepared for any monster attack worldwide, so it just doesn't make sense, as big as the city Sydney is, for them to not defend there. So yeah, I'm thoroughly convinced, based on Zilla reacting to a near light speed atomic breath and then shattering buildings in a matter of seconds by accident, just shows that he has greater power. So overall, I believe that Zilla 04 stomps. Gamera, you have any further comments on that? Now with me adding the Zilla 04 context or stuff.
It was honestly not that bad. Pretty good matchup, but also a little bit weird at the same time, because directly 04 had no feats besides going face to face with Godzilla, even though it was a one-sided fight. As for 98, where that Zilla shows feats, but wasn't very durable against certain attacks against the military. Overall, it's pretty weird.
All right, Gamera. So, but how do you feel about Zilla 04 being faster, though?
Actually, yeah, 04 being faster is. Yes, he's a little bit more faster than...
He's a lot more faster.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't that make you, like, change your mind about it? Since he's, like 50 times faster?
I mean, yes, that would be the case, since he's more... or so, like, faster, more energetic.
Yeah, I think he would speed blitz based on him dodging that atomic breath. Also, about my theory, do you think it holds true? Do you think do you think he fought Atragons based on the other monsters all fighting Atragons?
I mean, it's hard to tell due to the fact that he just appeared like around the corner of the building with no visible scars or battle damage or anything, so it's really hard to tell if he really did battle one of the ships.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but I believe he did, or fought some type of superior weapons because all the other monsters did, and it wouldn't make sense that they would just ignore Sydney.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. What's your final verdict? Because I'm still thinking the new Zilla, Zilla 04, he bodies 98 due to him being faster, and I believe he hits harder due to him destroying a building in seconds and making a ground shake so hard he knocks a woman into the sky. What is your take on the now?
My take on it now is that it will probably be in 04's case.
Right.
Because of the speed, but then again, you have to consider the fact that 98 had feats.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
in that movie, so it's really hard to tell. So for me, it's gonna be a draw.
For you, it's a draw.
Yeah.
All right. Starfire, how do you feel?
Is Zilla against which Godzilla?
Zilla versus Zilla.
Oh, Zilla versus Zilla. The final war Zilla, right?
Yeah, versus the 98 one.
98 wins. There we go.
Why? Oh, heck no. Why?
Why you said oh heck no for? Because literally that Zilla barely did anything in the Final Wars movie. All he did was run. He's faster for and
if he's faster and he hits either the same or harder, that means he was speed blitz 98. It would be you fighting. It's basically you fighting yourself, but your other self can move as fast as lightning, and you're just the same. So, who do you think will win? You or the version of you that can run as fast as lightning?
I mean, he could run fast, but if the 98 Zilla is smart, he could just wait until the other Zilla tires himself out.
But the other Zilla moves so much faster than him that he wouldn't be able to think out a plan. That's how much the speed difference is. Like, he would just get killed that fast. Or get hurt that badly. And he wouldn't have enough time to react because he's getting hit by something so much faster than him. It's like getting hit by bullets.
You know, when you mentioned the Final War Zilla, all I remembered was him just getting instantly slapped.
yeah, I know. Like, it's funny because he got bodied in that movie, but when you take that out of when you like look at what he actually does, he is so much stronger than they tried to make him out to be. Especially when he made a woman fly to the sky by accident.
Okay.
Like, he literally smacked his head on the ground, and it made like a miniature earthquake. Like, it made the ground shake, and a woman got knocked into the sky because of that. Like,
well, the stats you just, I mean, the feats you just said, then yeah, that Final War Zilla wins.
All right, ladies
big
and gentlemen.
time. So
you heard it here, folks. Folks, you heard it here first. My boy